Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to the second or third segment of this show. And in this segment, as you see, I'm all alone. And this is for a particular reason because in this segment I would wish to talk about the guy that we're seeing here on the screen on the left. His name is Meir Ariel, and this is, I guess, a part of the news section I'm beginning over here in the weekly update, which is flat Earth poetry. In this segment, we're gonna talk about I don't know, favorite song, and we're gonna analyze it with poetic sense and to see what this special song means and how this particular song related to flat Earth theory. And for this time, I chose, because we are speaking about the flat Earth Hebrew, which I chose to talk about a song in Hebrew. And for me in person, my first pick was this guy Meir Ariel, which is actually for the last 20 years or so my favorite singer. He actually passed away 20 years ago in the year 99, and commemorating 20 years to his death. And I think he's a very unique and special singer in the Israeli singing world, and I do believe that he's the best songwriter and the best poet that we encounter in our little country, and even in let's say a universal level or our world level, international level. I believe that he's very unique. His style kind of like reminding, if you want to compare him to someone, so it could be reminding you of some kind of like a mixture between Bob Dylan or Johnny Cash. He's well known as a kind of a storyteller, a troubadour, a traveling singer, whatever that gives his words, and he has a very particular point of view and observation on this world. What I particularly like about his songs that he uses a very special Hebrew, in that sense that whenever you can't find a certain word or a certain phrase that in the Hebrew language that will fit the reality that you want to describe in his songs, so he's just inventing those words or phrases, and he's creating new type of Hebrew in some sense. And because of that, he got a lot of like phrases and common words that got into the English, into the Hebrew language itself, in all sorts of places. So and in this segment, I'm gonna talk about his song that I wrote it down in the bottom of the screen. I translate it as "What's Up with Science." In Hebrew, it's called "Ma Chadash Bamada." In Hebrew, translated like "What's new in science," but I think that "What's up with science" it's more like fitting the right translation. And in this particular point, I want to state out that this song is in Hebrew, of course, but I did the hard work of translation of this song. And to tell you the truth, it was quite a task to do, because first of all, it was one of the first Hebrew songs that I ever translated, and second of all, it was Meir Ariel's song, which is always complicated and always has different meanings and different layers of content that you can interpret it out of his context. And I especially picked up I think the most difficult song of Meir Ariel, because it's a song which is packed with text. It's a song which is very complicated with the ideas you want to pronounce, and I took myself with this task. I'll see what I can do. I'm telling ahead that my translation level for this song wasn't perfect, but I did my best with interpreting whatever I could find. And I think that we will start with this song. I played the song earlier before this segment, and now we're gonna review it and gonna analyze it according to the Hebrew, and what actually I got from this song after listening to it kind of hundreds of times, I think. And I believe that lots of people in Israel are doing all kinds of interpretations to Meir Ariel songs, and everyone is like right and have his own interpretation, and everything is correct. I gave in this I'm giving in this segment kind of like my interpretation to this song, but it's interpretation through a flat earther's eyes, meaning that and it's because that when I started believing flat Earth, researching flat Earth, so all the time I got this music in my head, and the music was this particular song of Meir Ariel, because it talks about all the subject that you can find in a regular flat Earth lecture, and the amazing thing that this song was written 31 years ago, meaning before flat earth movement was ever thought of. But it talks about the same particular ideas and same particular concepts that we always hear on flat earth conversations. It's a song, but first of all, it's very critical towards science. It's divided to three parts, and I think that the structure itself, it's kind of like unique. It has rhymes, and it has the same structure in every part. I guess we'll start with that. And for me in particular, it's a very exciting moment because I don't know, I feel very close to this song, and I'm happy to have this chance to do that. I actually couldn't find someone who's also flat earther and Meir Ariel fanatic as I am. Yeah, let's do it. So let's start off with the first part of the song. Yeah.
על פי מדעי הטבע, האדם כלול בטבע. אם כלול האדם בטבע, כלולים כל מעשיו.
Alright. Meir Ariel begins his song that according to the nature science, the man is included in nature, and if a man is included in nature, all his actions are also included. Meaning that he starts to describe a process that kind of like explains what is man's role inside this creation. And he's talking about a very unique concept, which is what is natural. Okay, he ponders about this question.
יוצא שעל פי המדע, טבעי הוא מעשה האדם, אף פרי מעשה האדם, טבעי הוא לכל פרטיו.
All right, now, so. The explanation that Meir Ariel gives in the beginning of the song, and it's not his explanation. Yeah, this is an important thing to understand at the beginning of the song. It's not his explanation. It's actually like how we describe science. Okay, this is what is quoting what science is saying. Okay, and according to science, the man is included inside the nature, and if the man is included, so is his deeds, his outcomes, the things that his actions. And according to science, if the equations go like this, that the actions of the man are also natural, and even the man's product is natural in every detail, meaning that all the thing that the man is producing is also natural. And from this part he started to give the examples of what is natural according to science. And this is actually everything. So let's see.
שני התולעת, כור העכביש, לחת השבלול, יערת הדבר.
Here it describes things which are pretty much indeed, as we consider, natural. The worm silk, the spider's web, snail's trail, the honeycomb, these are all things that we can easily find in nature itself. But then he kind of like changes the the items that he's focusing on.
כפרחים מפלסטיק, כדי שסינתטי, הנמשכים ברצף ממוח ברנש.
Here he says, okay, very clearly, that all those natural things like the warm silk and the spider webs are the same as plastic flowers, as synthetic grass, and all those ideas are like the same thing. Natural.
קיני נמלים, מאורות, שועלים, מעונות אריות, שריוני צבים, כממגורות חיטה, כמעונות עובדים, כתשלובת מסרכת מאנשים.
Alright, he continues on, he's comparing ant barrels and fox lairs to grain silos and workers' residence. What's actually the connection? The connection is that science is telling us that if he has these natural things, so also the man is natural, and his products are also natural, like grains of silos or workers' residence, and more examples.
כקליפת אגוז, כחרצן אפרסק, כבד שורשים, כשלכת עלים, כן סירה בים, חתיכת אורניום, חנות תשמישי, ירחוני נשים.
Here is even going a little bit further with that, and is calling a nutshell, a seed of a peach. He compares it to a boat in the sea, a piece of uranium, women's magazines, all kinds of things which are, for us, I know as sane people, looks totally unnatural, if I do correct. So now he comes into the conclusion of science.
הכל טבעי, הכל אותו דבר, הכל חוקים וחומר, תהליך ומוצר. האדם זה רק חי שפולט קו ישר, קולט רעיון וכופל מסחר.
Alright, so it's all natural, it's all the same. Those plastic flowers, those pieces of uranium, those honeycombs, whatever, fox's lairs, they're all the same, okay? They're all like laws and matters and process and product, okay? This is what science says. The man is just an animal that outputs a straight line, gets an idea, and multiplies it by a number. Means that is not really special or anything like that. It's just a part of nature, and everything he produces is also natural. And now he kind of like ponders about what is artificial, actually.
אם כן מהו מלאכותי, מלאכותי להלכה, זה כל דבר שנעשתה בו מלאכה, אך אינו בניגוד לטבעי כמקובל, במילון בתשבץ או בדרך כלל.
Alright, so what is artificial? Totally artificial. It's everything that the craft is being put inside, okay? But it's not in opposed to natural as customary in the dictionary, crossword puzzle, or in general. What does that mean? It means that, like, what is the artificial, okay? It's everything that you have craft, but it's not as opposed to natural, meaning that the science is completely like getting conflicted with itself, because if there is something which is artificial, there couldn't be something which is natural, because natural is like everything according to science. Okay, and everything is natural, as we saw before. So how could it be that there is something artificial? Whatever.
אמנם לפעמים שומעים דיבור על חזרה אל הטבע ועל ניכור הטבע זה אנחנו, זאת יש לזכור, על פי המדע אין לאן לחזור.
And this is, I think, maybe like the conclusion of this part. He's talking over here, Meir Ariel, about getting back to nature. Getting back to nature meaning, like, I know, thinking about getting back to yourself. I know, disconnecting yourself from this material world, and doing, I know, going do meditations and think about who you are and what you are. But what science says is over here that we are actually nature, so you have no way to get back to. It's like sealing all the doors and telling you, you have nothing to try to get back to nature. There's no such thing as nature. There's nowhere to get back to because we are nature. The science is everything which is natural. So this is kind of like the conflicted sides or like the trap that science is trying to put for us. But at the end, so it says that everything is science, but
אבל אם בכל זאת מרגישים הבדל בין צחוק מעושה וצחוק מתגלגל אז ברוך השם תודה לאל.
Alright, so this is kind of like the punchline of this part, okay? It says that science is everything, okay? You don't even need to bother to get back to nature. But still, if you can feel a difference between a false laugh and a loud laugh or bursting laugh or whatever, so thank God, so God is blessed and thank God. Kind of like means that if you still find things, according to science at least, okay? If you still find things that you can't explain by science, okay? You can't really measure laugh, okay? So if you can still put the difference between that, so there is God, okay? So, and this is the same thing that we're seeing in all kinds of, for instance, the divine spark or all kinds of like dark matter that they show us, whenever the science can't explain anything. So it kind of like says, oh, it's something divine, it's something God that should be included also as part of science, which is actually bullshit, of course. So it kind of like saying, okay, if you still can tell the difference, so thank you God, bless God, there is God. But there isn't really God, okay, because, what is that important to distinguish between those kind of two laughs? It is important. Alright, so let's go on to the second part, and this is actually my favorite one.
Baruch Hashem, Toda La'el. ועוד על פי המדעים נוצרו העולם והחיים בשל נסיבות ותנאים שנתהוו מן הסתם.
Alright, and here in this part, this is my favorite one, he's actually talking about the Big Bang according to science, or how our star planet was created and how this whole life started. So it's quite interesting. First of all, that according to science, life and world were created because of conditions and terms that became out of nothing. Now, over here I want to hold down a little bit about the translation. The word stam in Hebrew, it's actually a very hard word to translate because it has different meanings and different interpretations and connections to the context. And I don't really know any kind of like word that equivalent to that, a single word that equivalent to that in English. The total meaning is something which is not important, something that happened by accident, something that goes by without any intention, or if you, fooling someone, so you're just saying stam and it's just for laughs. This is more or less the general meaning of that. So they're telling us this word and life were created min hastam, meaning for no reason at all. No reason. This is why I, in the continuation of this translation, I kind of like translated it as meaningless, without meaning. All right. So let's go on. It created out of nothing according to science, yeah. What does that mean, that it made out of nothing, out of no reason? What does that mean?
שהתרחשו בשרשרת שלא מתחילה או נגמרת, אקראית מאז ומעולם.
Alright, so it happened in a chain reaction, which either starts or ends, just a random one, since always, since eternity. Alright, and now we start to tell the story of this creation, according to science, of course.
סתם שוטטו להם כמה חוקי טבע חצי זרוקים, איך הם הגיעו לכאן בכלל, סתם שוטטו להם בחלל.
Alright, so we're starting to tell the story of those few laws that wandered around in space, semi-frogs, laws, and how did they end up here anyway? Just wandered in space. Ooh, nice story.
והנה עולם ממש לקראתם, עוד קבוצת חוקי טבע, גם כן סתם, ואם כבר התחברו הקבוצות, והיו פיצוצים ושלל ניצוצות.
Alright, so it's starting to become interesting. So another group of laws of natures came towards them for no reasons, no particular reason at all, just like that, natural. And the groups attached, and there were explosions and lots of sparks, okay? And yeah, it became really interesting and, I don't know, cinematic in some way.
כך סתם פגש חלבון את חלבון בחום היפה, באור הנכון, ומהם יצא חלבון עם כישרון, והתכשיט כבר יודע לעשות חשבון. סתם.
Alright, now this is interesting. So with no reason, protein met a protein. The beautiful thing is that it's written down over here, בחום היפה, באור הנכון, at the beautiful warmth, at the right light. In Hebrew, it's kind of like supposed to be the opposite. There is like the right warmth and there is the beautiful light. So you kind of like mix the two phrases together. This is kind of like word games that you usually do Meir Ariel in his songs. And from there, this protein with protein, they kind of like gave birth to a protein with a talent, okay, a talented one, okay, and this is already like a hinting for like evolution. And whoop, this jewel, it means this person that came out of this evolution, from this protein with talent, he already knows to do mathematics, math, calculation. And again, he uses the word stam with no reason at all. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't like it happened by coincidence. It doesn't mean anything. So just like that, he knows how to already do math, and it happens with, again, no reason. Now it's the interesting part.
ואני מסתובב לי מלא כוונות, מלא תוכניות, עתיר תרבויות, מלא חשיבות, שואף משמעות, אומרים לי שכל זה מן הסתמיות.
Alright, now it gets to the point. So he tells around he has lots of plans and he's like rich with cultures and intention, he's feeling important, and they keep telling him that it doesn't mean anything, that it came out of nothing, that it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't have any effect on real life. So it kind of like has a very disappointing outcome, and this is what he says next.
קצת מעליב, מאוד מעציב, על סתם אני לא הייתי שם כל כך הרבה תקציב, ועוד עם סרח העודף זו המטה שארית, נידופת קרינה עם אימת האחרים.
Alright, so it's a little bit insulting, very unfortunate, מאוד מעליב, מאוד מעציב. On that he wouldn't pay so many budget. This is kind of like one of the best, I don't know, creative writing that I saw, that he says that usually Israeli says, no, I wouldn't put this kind of budget on this one. And what I mean is by budget is his his spiritual budget, let's say it like that. He wouldn't be thinking so much and pondering about life if it wasn't for if it was made out of nothing and from no reason. And and with of course, with all this pollution, all kinds of radiation in our world, and the threats of end of days, it's kind of it looks very I don't know, disappointing for him that it's all meaningless with all these feelings that he got, that he is important, that the end of days are about to come.
כן, יש בעולם הזה סתם וסתם, וסתם וסתם, שהראש נסתם ונתקע במרקע שם איזה מדען אפס ממלמל, אם ירצה השם ועוד סתם מתנצל.
Alright, so he's again screaming at the word that this word has got stam and stam and stam and no reasoning whatsoever and no meaning whatsoever. And this is what happens to the word that shuts down. In Hebrew, it kind of goes funny because it says the words, the head is nistam, which is like plugged, shut down. Once again, it's a game of words with the word stam. And after that, he kind of describes a scientist that is stuck over in the television and he can't explain all this no reasoning. So he says, if God wills, if God wills, and it kind of slipped out of his mouth, okay, this expression, because he is not supposed to be familiar with God, okay, but he kind of slipped this expression out of his mouth when he saw all the things that the science has done, and he's like, oops, apologizes for that, again, from no reason. But, again, he's ending this part in an optimistic way.
אך כל עוד בעולם יש עיקר וטפל ויש עוד כוח להבחין בהבדל אז ברוך השם תודה לאל.
Alright, so over here he is still saying at the end of the first part, he's saying as long as you can still distinguish between primary and secondary, between what is important and what is not important, so still thank you God, okay? Again, we are getting into the area of that science can't reach, that he can't measure, that he can't show us fake pictures on what is important and what is not important. He's using the word ikar vetafel, which are the main thing and the thing which is not important. And so if you can still distinguish between that, so thank you God. Again, the science is coming back to God whenever you can't explain anything.
Baruch Hashem, Toda La'el. עד מתי אהובתי ניגרת עוד ניגרת על סלע הלב מתי כבר תימסה אבן ויפרוץ כאב.
Alright, so this part, okay, of this song, it's kind of between the sentences, between the second and the third part, and to be frank about it, I can't understand what did he want in this sentence. It's kind of a cry, I think, a cry for help, okay, for melting this heart of rock, I guess, and is waiting for this to happen, that all this pain will burst out. I guess this pain is for each one, I guess, is a personal pain, but if we're talking about this song and about science, so I guess the pain is the lies that people told us. Okay, this is the pain that we're feeling whenever people are trying to, control us. You certainly feel pain, and he just waits for his heart of rock to melt and this pain to burst out. Alright, third part.
גם שהמדעים עוד מעט קט והם מגיעים לפי ינוח סוד החיים וכל סודות היקום.
Alright, they're saying that the sciences are soon to be reached to resolve everything and all the secrets of the universe. Interesting.
אבל על קו האינסוף הן יעמלו לקלוף ולקלוף בלי הרף לחצוב ולחשוף והנקודה היכן היא תקום.
Alright, now Meir Ariel is kind of like criticizing the method of the science, how he actually acts, okay? What are his motives and how what will be the end of it, okay? Where he will finally rest and will say, that's it, let's see.
כמה ספרות אחרי הפסיק, כמה שנות אור שופך עוד חלקיק, קרן תשלח, תפתח עדשה, ליד הנגלה סתומה חדשה.
Alright, now, yeah, the few numbers after the comma, a few light years after are pouring another particle. Okay, is like saying over here that once you like trying to observe the world and you're trying to reveal the world, you're just stuck in another dead end, okay? After you discover something, another dead end appears.
תאיץ במחשב, אותך מגשש, בכל דבר ביד ממשש, אז עד איפה אתה יודע, עד היכן אתה מבין, עד לאן אתה רואה, משם אתה מאמין.
Alright, this is very important. Again, is like saying how the science is using his computers and needs to feel. This is actually what the science needs to do, to feel everything in your hand. But, okay, it's written down over here in Hebrew, עד איפה אתה רואה, יודע, עד היכן אתה מבין, עד לאן אתה רואה, ומשם אתה מאמין. Meaning that science is coming and telling you, okay, you know until this point, okay, until where you see, okay, until where you see, and from there you need to believe whatever, to believe in what we're telling you, okay. You can, again, you can feel whatever is in your hands and you can believe it's existing and it's real, but beyond that, it's all on us, okay? Again, it's the trap of science, okay, to keep you inside this kind of local control. Now he's like criticizing actually love life.
גם אם לא תודה חסר ענווה, תראה לאן תקעת את האהבה, מצמיד אלקטרודות, אפילו מזמין שתקלניות להרצות בוועידות למי.
He's now like talking about love itself, which is supposed to be like the most contradicting thing of science, okay? Like love is something which is not scientific at all, but over here is like trying to describe how science took over love as well, attaching electrodes and even order. Over here the translation was actually pretty difficult. He's talking about the word shtaglaniot in Hebrew, which comes from the word mishigal. It's like in intercourse, and shtaglaniot it's I say sex professionalist. This is kind of like the interpretation that I gave to that. To lecture in a sex conference. This is kind of I think a metaphor for other things that the science got into love in nowadays. You can say it's maybe I know sex toys, maybe porn movies, maybe even dating applications, okay? All kinds of things that science gets into love, into this special moment that you fall in love with someone and trying to put his input and his control inside with his benefits, of course.
האדם חץ שלוח אל לב החידה אשר משתוקקת להיוודע ריבועות מקווים מנסים אבל רק דרך נקב אחד נכנסים.
Alright, over here is telling that the actual man is very curious and he wants to know the puzzle, is wishing to know the truth. But there are like lots of like pinholes that he needs to decide where to put his head to and what to decide what is truth for him. And quite unfortunately, is putting his head into the single pinhole of the science. Okay, just only through that.
והמדע הוא רק נקב אחד מרבים חותר וחופר ניצוצות ושבבים אך כשלהוכיח איננו יכול אז בכוח הוא הולך את הרוח לכבול.
Alright, over here I said it loud and clear, and the last two parts it kind of like hinted on that particular dogma of science. Whenever you can't prove anything, is going to I know, refer to God or change or like hide God or whatever. Over here it says that he's going to change the spirit whenever he can't unable to provide a proof for what is although he's like digging sparks and splinters, he's trying really hard, but when he can't find any proof, so he's going ahead just to hide God. This is like the best thing that he can do.
אמנם יצא האדם מן הקוף מתי כבר ואיזה יצור הוא מעצמו ישלוף דרך אגב לא רואים כאן אדם שייתן כבוד כלשהו לאיזה קוף מזדקן.
Alright, this is like approaching to the end of the song, and he's discussing over here, it's not really evolution, maybe so, he's like wondering if the man came out of the ape and what kind of like a creature, what kind of like mutation we can get out of here today. And over here at the end, he finishes the song over here, the third part, he's saying, don't see anywhere around the man that we give any kind of respect to an elderly monkey. Now, I think it can be interpreted in two ways. The elderly monkey, it could be us, okay? Us modern human are like elderly monkeys that evolved out of regular monkey, I guess. So he says that there's no respect between one another, okay? Between our elderly monkeys in our society. And second interpretation that is like criticizing our as it written down, like our retreat, our like relations to elderly people. They kind of like criticizing that the single things that you supposed to do is a very special, important order in the Bible to honor your father and your mother and elderlies in general. So you don't, with all this science, you don't see anywhere around over here that gives respect to these elderlies, which is very important. And we finish up the song.
אבל אם אתה עדיין מתפעל איך הולך על חבל איננו נופל אז ברוך השם תודה לאל ברוך השם תודה לאל.
Alright guys, so I think the final conclusion of this song, like in the previous parts, if you still been impressed how a tightrope walker is not falling down, how this magic is happening, how this thing that I know science can't explain, it's also like maybe related to non-gravity, which we all kind of like agreed on. So thank God, God is blessed. Again, this is science again referring to God whenever it can't explain anything. Anyway, let's continue on with this thanks God and Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem Toda La'el Baruch Hashem
Alright, guys, so this is, I guess, the end of this segment. We go over this song, and for me it was a, I don't know, great pleasure and kind of like a unique personal journey to do that by myself, and actually wanted to do that for a long time, to pass this song forward and to say to everybody what I'm thinking about him. I think it's a great song. It's very relevant to our flat earthers life, and it was created 31 years ago, so it's kind of like I think special in its way. And besides that, I recommend you to hear lots of Meir Ariel songs. He got of like very interesting observations, and of course, as I said before, is the master of Israeli poetry and Israeli writing. So this is my recommendation, and thank you all for listening. Let's go to the next segment.